was up from 9 to 5. My was up from 9 to 5, baby. Greetings, everyone. This is your man BT, and the awesome gentleman I have on the split screen. We go way back since my polygram days.
Man, way back.
But I'll tell a little story about how I came to know Blue and his great music when he was on Motown. But first, the reason I do this is, during this time of lockdown and COVID-19, I reach out to some of the artists that I've dealt with, some that I haven't dealt with, and some that I haven't dealt with across the country, across the world.
Right.
And the purpose is to reach out to the artists, touch base with them, find out how they're dealing with this time of lockdown, the positive side of it. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, we all got to do it. Ain't nobody exempt from lockdown. So
no doubt about that.
I wanted to put some positive content out there for all of the artists of the world that's out there that's still doing stuff while we on lockdown. So with that said, let me go ahead and shut up. Blue, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll, just go ahead and start rolling, and just have some fun.
Yes, my name is BLU Mitchell.
Blue!
I'm a true R&B artist. That's
sir.
The definition of what I do. A lot of people call me a flat-foot singer, which means that I can sing anything, but my true heart is to original R&B music. In the 90s, I had a 95 exact come out with an album on Motown. It was called Out of the Blue. I did that with Dwayne Wiggins and part of the Tony. And then, I have it's a new record out. It's always going to be a new record out in this time of music. I came out with a new record in 2018 called Blue Eyed Soul.
Yes.
And I got a new single out now
called
Can I Work Out With You?
Can I work out with you? When I heard that, I was like, yes, Lord. That's the new heater for me that's going to be playing on rotation around here. You'll be like,
man.
Yeah, man. I just like the song.
It's a nice joint, man. It's a nice joint. I like that.
Yes, it is. And that's definitely going to have to be on Oso Lounge.
It's so funny how it came about. I basically wrote that song freestyle. So, I do a radio show, and my radio show is called Out of the Blue. But before I started mine, I did Speedy and Friends.
Okay.
Speedy the comedian.
Uh-huh.
You know who Speedy Caldwell is. He if you've seen Jamie, he's Jamie right-hand man. Like any concert opens up for Jamie. He's a well-known comedian, been around for years. And we do a rollout show with Speedy and Friends. And so they would just put a beat on.
Okay.
A lot of times, and I would just freestyle and make up a whole song. So I've made, just straight from the top of my dome, I've just made up songs. I never know what the track is, and I never know what I'm going to do. But at the time, we actually had been talking about working out. And I freestyled that in one of the shows you could pull up, because you can always go to all our old shows on YouTube, and you'll see. I only changed a couple of things, but I freestyled off the top of my dome that whole song.
So tell me, since we went and we touched on your new single, and I'm going to also plug that, and I also will put that on the new show.
Done deal.
Tell us a little bit about what you've been up to between that gap of time of that banger of an album to current day. Bring us up to speed, Blue.
So I toured on that for a good while. So I'm gonna say I toured on that record up to about 97, going into 98. And then
you made that work for you.
No, it really did. Because at the time, if you remember at the time, Motown didn't have a lot of stuff. They had a lot of stuff in the works. They just didn't have a lot of stuff out. So they sent me out for everything. Motown Jazz, Motown Mad Sounds. Like, I represented in every form and fashion. I remember I had to go and do the Kentucky Derby because Stevie couldn't do it, and I was already going to be there doing a concert with my dudes from Rude Boys, and then Gerald Levert's brother.
Okay. Sean.
Yeah.
Sean had an album out. Oh, okay.
And the lead singer of Hi-Fi. It was just a big concert. So
Tony.
I went over there, sang the national anthem, came back to get ready to do. I mean, I was going everywhere doing my thing. And then in between that, you know, Andre Harrell took over the label.
Right.
When Andre took over the label, it was basically a battle of the baritones. It was me, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
He had already had on his label Big Bub.
Right. And I think
Like,
Horace Brown.
It was just loaded. But with those type of singers, it was just loaded. And it was like, you know, that's the thing of, huh?
It was a bunch of crooners.
It's just a bunch of crooners. And you know the thing about when you come in and the new coach come in, you know, he bringing his own team.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He bringing his own team. So that battle, people trying to keep me, Motown people trying to keep me, Andre Harrell trying to launch the team he brought over.
Right.
Like it took a minute to get out of that deal. Got out of that deal, and then I had bought a club. I'd invested in a club in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And going back and forth up there, you know, I was in limbo. I went on and moved down to Portland, man. And I was doing the club. I had the only black club downtown on First and Cooch. It was called Balzers.
Okay.
And, you know, it was popping during the time of the Blazers. You know,
Okay.
my peoples that were coming in was Rasheed Wallace and, you know, Bonzi and Damon. And, you know, I was even there. My club was still rolling even when Pippen had joined the team. So, you know, I was the only black club downtown, so everybody came through.
Right.
Did that for about, I lived there for 3 years. I was a business partner of it for 5 years.
Right.
Our lease was up and then shut down, and I came back home to LA, you know, because that's where I was born and raised.
Right.
Then I started doing plays. I started doing a lot of different plays. Our man Brett Dismute had got me on one play, which was Love in the Nick of Time.
Okay.
Which was Morris Chestnut. Was directed by and written by David E. Talbert.
Right.
Trinice Cobbins, Avant, Terry Dexter, if you remember Terry Dexter from Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
You know, we were all doing this play that traveled for 8 months. And the smallest crowd we did in that 8 months was 2,800. Our normal average crowd was 4,500.
My God.
And we did 6 to 8 shows a week.
Ooh,
man, I mean, we were killing. We were killing. It was called Love in the Nick of Time, man. Like, we shot it to DVD, so you can always see it on DVD. You know, and at that time when David and Brett Dismute shot it, they set the standard of how plays had to be shot.
Right.
It was no longer that looking like somebody sitting in the audience shooting. He had to shoot it like, you know, it was, our DVD was shot up to the par of
it's a major
probably
production.
a better video, movie, you know.
Major production.
Yeah.
That's
And
what's up.
so I also did King Solomon Live. My man, well, it was me, Puff Johnson, if you remember Puff Johnson on Sony.
Dang. That's
Yeah,
what's
rest in
up. I was
peace,
gonna
Puff.
ask you about Puff. I was gonna ask you
Rest in
about
peace,
Puff.
Puff. Yeah.
Mm.
It was me, her, and my man from Law and Order.
Okay.
And shoot, oh, my girl from you know, the TV show that John Singleton did about the basically cop Black Panther sister.
Yeah.
It was all four of us, and we toured.
Okay.
That was a short tour because, you know, the recession was in. That was a short tour. We probably did about 4 cities. I also did Pussycat Dolls. Well, not Pussycat Dolls. It was called Soul Kittens, but it was like a Pussycat Dolls kind of situation with from Brownstone, Nikki.
Damn.
Nikki Gilbert wrote it and directed it. So it was me, Fantasia, Faith Evans, Terrell Carter, Nikki Gilbert, Monifa,
I remember Monifa,
and Dave Tolliver from Mini Large.
Dang.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. And we shot that. That's the DVD too. We shot that to DVD. So
you've been busy. So pretty much you just.
I was definitely busy, and then, you know, placing songs on in different movies. The album Out of Blue Eyed Soul, 8 of the songs on the album is in 8 different movies.
Man, and I know that Puff was on one of those songs, man, and I was just like, man.
It was like one of the last recordings she did before she passed. Yeah.
Man, because you know what?
Man, can you believe? Can you believe it's been 5 years?
It's crazy,
been 5 years, man.
Shoot, I can't believe, that it's been 20 plus years since your album of Out of the Blue.
Yeah, man.
Hey, man, time just flies, man.
Man, time waits for no man. I also did First Sunday. I did First Sunday with Ice Cube and Tracy Morgan and Cat Williams.
What?
Yeah, so I'm in First Sunday. It's I did majority of the vocals in First Sunday with the choir, and I was in it. I was part of the choir. So remember, the choirs and the people in the church was held hostage.
Right.
Yeah.
I was starting to think, I had a flashback of some of those scenes of that movie. I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Why did they put on hostage? They was trying to raise the money for the church or something to keep the church.
Trying to raise the money for the church, but the dudes were trying to steal the money that they raised. Ice Cube and Tracy Morgan was trying to steal the money that they raised.
That's right. Yeah, that movie.
And broke into church to break into the safe, but didn't know that the church, the choir was rehearsing, and the heads of the church, were having a meeting about finances, and and so since they was in there at the same time, they almost got busted. They had to end up holding people hostage.
That's right. I'm going to go back and watch that movie. That movie was hilarious, man. So you did that too?
I did that too. I did that too.
Dang,
yeah, I was kind of bouncing, trying to figure out what I was doing. Man,
your IMDb should be it's a mile long then. Boy, you'd be like, dang, this boy been busy. Dang, dog. Well, hey, so let's bring it back. Let's talk about I saw the other day on Instagram your post. You I think you interviewed one of the Tate brothers. Tell me about your show, man. I was excited about it. I was like,
so I came up with a show called Out of the Blue. And basically we give some insight and point of view and inform, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on and we don't know about it. Like we can tell you exactly what new car or hairstyle or new house that Kim Kardashian and Kanye done bought.
Right.
But we can't tell you that Louisiana had over 1,000 cases of the
COVID-19
COVID disease. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you ask somebody and they'd be like, what? Really?
Yeah.
And
yeah, what
so,
do you think about?
yeah, but they could tell you, how Offset just got some new diamonds in his chain.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's the information that's available to us first. All of it is available, but they tend to put out basically more gossip,
right,
than structure and understanding to our lives. It's so funny because when I was a kid, my parents be looking at the news. I thought it was they could just be stabbing me in the head. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or just putting their fingers across the chalkboard.
Right.
Because the news just seemed like, it seemed crazy.
Exactly.
And now I don't feel like I can step out into the world without at least knowing what's going on in the world at the moment. Right. You know, at the time, like I feel like, you know, when you go on trips, you don't turn on TV, like you don't even get to see what's going on, but you feel like you have been absent when you get to a certain age, when you don't know what's been going on. And so the show, so the show Out of the Blue is just really bringing current events, especially current events about us, having discussions about it. There's so much information, and a lot of it is not true. A lot of information goes out before it's investigated.
Bombarded with information
before it's investigated. And so,
prime example, not to cut you off, Blue.
Go ahead.
When Kobe passed,
my God,
it was so much misinformation that was going through.
Misinformation.
First, it was 2 people, and they was like, wait a minute. It was 7 people. Wait a minute. It was 11 people. I'm like, who telling the truth? And it was just like, my God.
Man, the Kobe thing was cold. That was definitely cold, especially understanding that his wife found out about it.
Right.
You know, over TMZ.
And they were wrong.
Man, like the daughter's on her phone because she's at that age.
Right.
The daughter goes, Mom, what's going on?
Right.
What are you talking about? Turn on the TV.
Well,
like that's how the information got brought to her. So now, because there was no respect and that understanding, she got to find out about the daughter, and the wife got to find out about her daughter and her husband.
So that just goes to show you how we just bombarded with so much information now. We got access to too much information. So bring it back to your show. So that's what.
So in my show, that's what that's what we base it on. Entertainment, music, just information. So we had Lamar Tate on this week, call in this week. Last week we had Dr. Marks, who's OBGYN in Texas, and we wanted to see how COVID was affecting pregnancies and birth.
Good question.
You know what I mean? And so the week before that, we had Dr. Applebaum, who's the head of medicine at Kaiser Cadillac.
What?
And yeah. Me and him we went to school together, and we had him on, and he just talked about how it's affecting the hospitals. When should you go to the hospital? He talked about the new procedure in the hospitals, and he talked about personally how doctors are responding personally to this. Right. I asked him, I said, I told him I had a friend of mine who is a nurse, and she didn't really take it seriously. And he said, and I thought that, I thought it was a little crazy. And he was like, nah, B, on the real, you'd have asked me 4 weeks ago, I would have just said, I would have treated it just like a common cold, the flu.
Right.
I didn't know this.
A lot of people have.
Just like a lot of people. He said, even us doctors, we didn't know that it had that much of a sweet spot that it
Yeah.
jumped to people so fast.
Wow.
You know, he's used to going into the hospital wearing a dress shirt, slacks, and a doctor coat, you know, making his rounds. He said now he don't wear nothing but scrubs. Comes into his house, takes off his scrubs in the garage.
Right.
Go into a bathroom in his house that nobody else in the house go. Take showers, clean himself completely before he walk into the rest of his house around his family. So we that's what the show is about, providing information and having the conversation.
Right. And
that's
a bold move, because sometimes we don't want to have. Sometimes we dance around topics. You know what I mean?
We don't want to have the conversation, man.
Right.
You know, we don't want to have the conversation. So that it's about having the conversation. That's what the show is about.
That's what's up. So I might have to start tuning in. And is it on Thursdays?
It's on Thursday at 6:30, and we go to normally from 6:30 to about 9. I usually have somebody call in around 7:30. Then we take a little break, and then we come back and we hit it up more. You know, sometimes the conversations get real heated, and especially when you're talking about blacks,
right,
and police.
But see, you know what? That's what's up, because I can see it getting heated, because you ain't dancing around the question. You asking them direct questions, and folks be like,
direct question.
Hold up. So that's what's up. I like
it's
that.
It's me, D Green, Danny Green, which is the comedian.
Yeah. I know Danny.
This young lady named Maria. We call her Maria. And then our counterpart, Big Dave, David Williams. And you know, hey, look, we got into a discussion one second half of the show, and it got heated, and it was about R. Kelly.
Whoa. Yeah.
You know, and my point was, how did we leave from the understanding that a man is innocent till proven guilty? Why is public opinion trumped everything that we know? Like, my man ain't been convicted yet. Michael wasn't convicted at all.
Right.
You know, it always makes me laugh when you start on the conversation about OJ, and somebody got to say, as the conversation come on, just before it starts, you know he did it right. Like, no, I don't. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. See, but you know what?
You know,
and that's the beauty of your show, then, because no punches are held. You know, it's just like it's a slugfest. But then the point is, you're not dancing around the topic. You're asking those direct questions, and folks are getting answers. I mean, because that's all we want is answers and the truth. We don't want folks dancing around and stuff.
Yes, no doubt.
So kudos to that show. I'm gonna have to tune in. Tell us a little bit about Blue Eye Soul, because I know Puff's on there. Tell me about some of the songs, you know, just so the people that are watching the video know a little bit about it.
Okay. It was a love of labor. My partners, Brett Dismute and Jahan Smith.
Okay.
We just came up with, we have a company called Mastermind Entertainment.
Okay.
And we wanted to, as you know, your boy Brett, no matter what he do, his heart and dedication is always to music. That's just his, you know, right now he's doing Phil's television and what may have you, but his
shout out to my frat brother.
Yeah, shout out to your brother. It's to music, you know. And so same thing with Jahan Smith. You know, music was definitely his first love. He's in finance banking.
Yeah, he went into the banking, man. That dude there, man. Tell him.
Yeah, no, he straight up. You know, that's all he's ever done.
Since, making big dollars.
High school is banking, and so it was a love of labor. Now, mind you, some of them songs that we did, man, we've been in the lab with them for a couple of years, perfecting them. and
fine
then
tuning,
fine tuning them, waiting for the moment, for this moment, you know, waiting for the moment to put it fully together. We work with a couple of producers. We work with Anthony DeTiege, we called him Big Tone. We work with Grant Nicholas. We work with Christopher Troy. We work with a couple of musicians on the I'll Give It Up is Andre Delano, the horn player.
Yes.
We work with Joseph Hearns out of Texas.
So y'all brought some heavy hitters in, huh?
Oh yeah, here's the thing. The part I have to give Motown is this. When you're an artist, all you know how to do is do you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All the mechanical stuff that it takes for you to do you, to become you.
Right.
Make it happen. The majors take care of that. Man, when you got to do it all yourself,
right,
man, it's a whole different monster. When you got to set up studio time, when you got to get the background singers to be there on time, the musicians to be on time, when you got to, after that, mix the record, master the record, come up with the album cover, you know.
Right.
I mean, it's definitely a business. It is definitely a business. And so all of that, you know, and here's the thing, when you put out a record, you got to put out the record the same way the record company put it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't put out a record like back in the day, rap records could be done in the bathroom. Right. It was a loop. You know, that's why
you fill it out your trunk.
Why rap overtook. Yeah, that's why they overtook. Right. Because you could do a whole record for back in the day for 8,000, 10,000. It was all done in the bathroom, in between the shower and the sink. You know what I'm saying?
And then you can sell it in your trunk.
And you can sell it out your trunk. But R&B or music, there's a level of sound that you're going to be held to that standard. Right. And if you ain't held to that standard, if you're not doing that, everything else you're doing is cute. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true. And you brought up a good point. You brought up a good point, Blue. So tell me, by you coming from, if not the most prestigious, or I should say one of the most prestigious, if not the most prestigious label, Motown, coming from that, being a veteran and coming out of that label, then doing it for yourself in this new era, is it easier or is it harder? Talk on that a little bit, because you know you're gonna have some artists.
It is harder in the sense of the buck stops here. Right. Ain't nobody else to blame but you, baby. You know what I'm saying?
True.
The buck stops here. It is harder in that sense. It's easier in this sense. Right. You're not limited to your creativity. Right. You don't have a bunch of people telling you what they think you should do and who you are. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And a lot of times, the reason why horses wear blinders is to keep focus on the vision. Right. When you're doing it yourself, you have the opportunity and the ability to stay focused on the vision. Right. When you're with a record company, you gotta hope that everybody believes in your vision.
Right. Amen. That's true.
And stay focused. But if
we'll champion it.
Yes.
And we'll champion it.
Yes. Yeah. But if they don't, then
shelved.
It's not just that it's shelved, but you lose who you are. Right. I'm gonna tell you, most artists, and I'm gonna be honest with you, especially during my time, most artists, if you can ask them what they could do different, they would tell you that what they would have loved to do different is do them.
Right. And that
Swing.
happened.
Look, it's so cold when you can swing for the fences.
Right.
Either hit or miss, but you had the chance to swing for the fences.
Right.
It's a whole different understanding when, and this happens to a lot of artists, they get to all the steps to be successful.
Right.
But their success is in other people's hands.
Right.
And if it happens, most of the time they can't tell you how they got there.
Okay. Shoot, and that was a lot
of. If
of.
it doesn't happen, they can't tell you how to get back.
Right.
Because it was somebody else's vision the whole time.
Right.
And record company used to do that code. When Boys to Men came out, we want 100 Boys to Men.
Yeah.
When Bobby Brown hit, oh man, we want 100 Bobby Browns.
Yeah.
You know, they were always looking to duplicate.
Right. Or put it in that genre of neo soul.
And put it in that genre where the old Motown days, where they were developing you as you go.
Right.
And putting you out with the person who was popping.
Right.
Until you popped.
Right.
Which is why
artist development.
Deals, yes.
Right.
Which is why production deals became so important.
Right.
Because record companies didn't want to do that no more.
Right.
They just wanted to buy the product and put it out.
How about you just give me your product and we'll sell it for you and we'll give you 10 cents for each CD we sell.
Man.
We keep the 9.
which came with them production deals, them glorified production deals, you know.
Right.
Where you had to, but it did open up doors for Bad Boys. Right. You know, Jermaine Dupri's label. You know, it did open up those doors. Okay. But all the artists that were signed directly to the record label, they got hurt. You know, that was the same thing happened to Puff. Puff was signed directly to the record label. But all the artists they had brought to the company was signed to PDs. Yeah. And they already had their stuff ready and developed and ready to go.
Right. Right.
So then when you see that, the next thing the record company doing is going, oh, well, would you work one of our artists? Right. Now you got somebody else's vision. Yeah. So if an artist could, all those artists in those days, even the ones that you know their name, that pop and made it, if they could have did it any other way, they would have loved to get up to bat, get that pitch, right, and have those chances to make a decision if they're gonna hit this one, right, or they gonna let it file out, right, or they gonna, you know what I mean? Like they had that chance, their own chance, to make that change. Right.
You know what? It's true that you said that because a couple of interviews back, I had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Bobby Brown himself, and he was saying that that's the same thing that you're saying. When, you know, being with the label, they already kind of got, okay, this is what you're going to do. These are going to songs you're going to sing, the boom, 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 boom. But he said once he got out of the group or he stepped away, he was free to do his own thing because they were just like, Bobby, we know you talented. Do your thing, and we support what you do. And so that's awesome. That's awesome.
Man, I mean, even your frat brother, Montel.
Yes.
We were all out in somewhat at the same time.
Right.
And the label at that time was doing this. We're going to throw all y'all out like throwing darts on the board. And whoever stick, that's the one we're running with.
Yes.
And at that time, amongst all of us,
right,
this is how you do it. This is how we do it. Was the biggest stick you could ever stick.
There you go.
Look, they had no concept of what we're gonna do with them next. Right. Because record companies didn't have that understanding anymore. Right. Their thing was, we gonna ride this till the wheels fall off, and while we ride when the wheels fall off, let's find something else he got and ride that till the wheel fall off. Right. I mean, and so building an artist And mind you, don't get me wrong, he deserved everything he got, but building an artist wasn't the understanding of record companies then. It was the understanding. It wasn't that. It was, hey, we're gonna let all these dogs out this when we hit that gun, we're gonna let these dogs run, and whoever make it to the finish line, that's who we running with.
That's our man.
That's our man right there. That's our man. He the best we ever seen. He the best guy that ever put breath in.
Ain't that boy's bad. Ain't that boy can sing.
And then we gon' these other ones, we just gonna be like, man, we sure wish it would have happened.
Right.
You know.
Well, well, I could just say, praise God that you've had the longevity that you did, and because see, I know that there are some artists out there that did not get that same opportunity to parlay it into stage plays and to do other things.
Right.
They just, once the label booted them, they were just like, damn, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? And so it's a beautiful thing
because they didn't know how they got there.
Right.
They didn't know how they got there. Sometimes, people saw, and it happens all the time, people see in you more than you see in yourself.
Right.
And they have the motivation to make it happen. You know, we always look at situations and groups, partnerships, and when they split up, a lot of times you see who really was the genius in the group. Now, sometimes you see there was two geniuses, but then a lot of times you see who really was who was this really meant for.
Right. And then you see it later on what's that show, Unsung. They be like,
Unsung.
Oh, that's what happened.
You see it. Like, not that the other elements wasn't talented,
but you see the clash.
See who was the visionary.
Yeah, like, who's the brain behind the whole thing.
The brain behind the whole thing, dog.
That's the beauty. Hey, and that's why, and you know what? That brings up a point that I want to ask you, because you got all this longevity, like I said, coming from the most, I'm just going to put it out there, anybody watching this video, don't hate me. The most prestigious label there is, you came from MOTOWN. And so I like to have, this is kind of like, I'm setting up my question for you. Your longevity with the most prestigious label out there, seeing all the things that you've seen and done over these years, way back to 95 to now. I have this where I call Reach One, Teach One. What would be your gems or your nuggets that you would leave for a youngster that's trying to break into the business? Say, Mr. Blue, school me, give me a little advice. I'm trying to break in. What would be that one thing, or two or three things that you would leave with a young artist that's trying to get into this business?
I'm going to say it like this. What I learned, and what a lot of them learned.
I'm sorry.
What I learned, a lot of them learned.
Yeah.
Is that whether you do it yourself or you're on a label, a major label.
Right.
The major label, see, because people, when we were rolling in the game in that time, in UBT, it was what you wanted to get was a deal. Like that seemed like the hardest thing in the world to do.
Yes.
But the reality was, getting the deal wasn't the hardest thing to do.
Right.
Keeping the deal was the hardest thing to do.
Yes.
Say, look, get the deal. You know how many folks got the deal and then never even cut music? Never, look, and then you were saying put on the shelf. You got to get to the point where you can get put on the shelf.
Right.
That means you got to do product.
Yeah.
That means going in the studio and cutting songs. Like, it ain't easy to do an album.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's not easy to do an album of quality, where I always wanted all I ever wanted to do, and that's what I love about my part of the biggest part of my career. I wanted to do timeless music. I wanted you to be able to pick up my record
Right.
Listen to it at any time of your life.
Right.
And it did the same thing for you at any point in time of your life.
Right.
And look, and that is a hard job to do because music time, our music time was, well, they're doing this right now. This is what we're going to do. They're doing this right now. We're going to do this, you know, Teddy cracking. So we want all Teddy joints. You know what I mean? Like,
we want New Jack Swing. Come on, put the New Jack Swing on it.
You know what I'm saying? We want Timberland style. We want Missy style. We want so all that is a part of you being and becoming who you are. So for artists, I tell you now, Motown, Sony, a Jive, BMG, any label you get the chance to be a part of, to invest in you. Treat them like the horse that you would get on, the motorcycle you would ride, the car you would drive, as a vehicle to get you where you want to be. They're not, you're not getting in the car or riding on the horse or riding on the bike for them to take you where they just take you. You're still the driver of your destination. And what a lot of us artists lost in the previous years and now is the game doesn't change. It's played a different way, but it still formulates and equals out. The formula to this math question is written different, but the answer at the end is still the same. No one can deliver your vision better than you can.
That's what's up.
And if you get to a point in your life that you've gotten it all, you're successful, people know you for what you do, but you got all the way up there. And when you go to tell the story about how you got there, and you don't know, that's because somebody took your vision, made it their vision, but can't nobody, once again, deliver your vision better than you. So they got you there on your vision, but not really the way you wanted to do it. It was the way they saw you thought you wanted to do it. And so whatever it is, don't get in the car.
Don't get caught up.
We used to have people all the time. You pick up your homeboys. They didn't have no car. You pick them up. And then you always picking them up. And then the one time you be like, hey man, just come on, just come back over by the spot. And they be like, I don't know how to get there. Man, we done drilled there like 9 times. Because they just get in the car without no understanding of where they going. Don't ever get in a car with nobody in your life and not know where you going.
That's what's
and how you got there. Because you're going to have to get back.
See, we got so many reverends around here. Reverend Blue over here preaching. Hey, anybody that's watching this video, if you want more gems, and because Blue is dropping dimes like Magic Johnson up in here. If you want some more wisdom, this brother has been with one of the biggest and baddest labels, and he's been consistent, still working. He's an active artist, still doing things out here. If you have questions for this brother, let him know how you can be reached, Blue, because I'm going to put it at the end, but just go ahead and share with them how you can be reached.
So you can catch me, Instagram, Blue Mitchell, at Blue Mitchell. You can catch me at Facebook, at Blue Mitchell, Twitter, at Blue Mitchell. You can go to my website, bluemitchell.com. That's BLU Mitchell.com.
YouTube.
You can catch me every Thursday at 6:30 at Out of the Blue on the Rollout Digital on YouTube. Man, pick up the album Blue Eyed Soul. I swear, I promise you, it'll be the soundtrack to your life in any form of fashion that you're trying to manifest your moment. It's your theme music. And new single, Can I Work Out With You? Very grown and sexy.
Yes.
And
should be a nice little bundle with that, Blue.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know what? I just did on my I joined with this producer, Gin Rubin,
Okay.
Grammy Award winning producer named Gin Rubin.
Okay.
He's from Seattle, but him and his family did a song for all the proceeds to go to
COVID-19,
the COVID-19, and for the workers that is, you know,
frontline.
Frontline that's out there in on the front line working for
essential
us.
Workers. They call it
yes.
workers.
And it's called give love a try, give love a hand.
Send me the link and I'll post it at the end.
Yeah.
And
so his family, they did this song, and then they had a bunch of different artists and kids sing along with it via Instagram.
Right.
And then they pushed it out, and then they did all of us singing together. We got 3,000 views in less than an hour, and it's way up high now. But yeah, definitely go to my page, get that, and be a part of that, and whatever donation you can give. Yeah, mine is my donation is going to the Los Angeles
COVID-19
support. Yeah. So yeah, like this has been great, my brother.
Man, this has been great, and dang, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because we had just totally forgot, because I wanted to know how you was doing. But it's good that you told me about that, so I could know what your involvement was with COVID-19. Because Blue, my bad, we got caught up in all of the.
Man, we got, hey, because we come from that time where music was, everything about it was exciting.
Right, yeah.
Everything about it. I mean, from like you enjoyed being a part of it in every form of fashion.
Amen, yes.
So it's easy to get caught up.
Yeah, it get caught up. So people that are watching this video, just know that back in the day in the 90s, we had a good time in the music industry. We had good music. We had great music. We had albums that we actually sold.
That you could listen to.
Yeah, and that you listened to, and that we bought. And then once the download phase started, some of that kind of went away. But we still have those memories of the good old days that we talk about. But everybody that watched this video, I am grateful that that Blue had this time to take out of his busy schedule.
He said, when I saw the message, he said BT. I said, oh man, you know, I didn't even hey, look, all my answers were short. Yeah, no problem. Here's my number.
Well, hey, much love, Blue. Much love for the future success of the latest single, Blue Eyed Soul. And shoot, man, hey, if we can get some imports of your Out of the Blue album from '95, man,
I'll take care of that.
Anybody that, if you look at YouTube, pull up Blue's old album, Out of the Blue, you'd be glad you did it. But still, buy that new album and buy the
listen to
single.
it, buy it. However, I could be a part of your life.
Yes, support the artist, support Brother Blue. You know, and I know he got a church coming out soon.
But, Tabernacle of Music, that's what it is.
But hey, man, it's been truly a blessing, man. And maybe we got to do this again, Blue, and we can just talk about it
anytime. And look, I'm going to get you to because you don't live here, so I'm gonna get you to call in. Because I want some insight on Louisiana, man.
Yeah, okay.
I want some insight on Louisiana, especially because, you know, they're saying that Louisiana was the highest when it came to our people. So I definitely want to set that up for you to call in, my brother.
Hey, I'm already there, man. You know, you got me locked in. So, hey, after we end here, man, it's truly been a blessing. I'm going to shoot you all my information, lock you in, and let's make it happen, man. So everybody that tuned in to Oso Lounge TV, thank you, Mr. Blue, for hanging with me for a little while and just chatting it up on video. And
yes, indeed.
It was just it was a pleasure. So everybody watching, thank y'all for tuning in, and y'all have a blessed day.
I appreciate it.
My hours are from 9 to 5, baby. Yeah. My hours are from 9 to 5. Yeah. So don't come knocking before then, baby. I'm in business for you, baby. 7 days a week, baby, and twice on Sunday. But my hours are from 9 to 5, baby.